Mona stretched out her tiny legs for the very first time as she crawled across a soft green milkweed leaf on a gentle spring morning in Ohio. It was a moment of pure wonder for her, a newborn caterpillar, freshly emerged from her delicate egg resting on this very leaf. Never before had she felt the warmth of sunlight on her skin, or the ticklish sensation of her little legs moving beneath her. Small, green, and almost see-through. Mona gazed around the meadow in amazement. Below her, shades of green painted the world deep emerald, bright Kelly, and muted olive tones, blending together like a living painting. Her vision was still a bit blurry, so she couldn't quite tell what everything was, but she had a good feeling they were leaves swaying gently in the breeze. When she tilted her head upward, Mona saw a vast expanse of pale blue sky stretching endlessly above her. Sunbeams danced across her milkweed leaf, causing it to shimmer with a soft, glowing light. Around her, the air was alive with cheerful sounds, birds singing joyfully and bees buzzing busily from flower to flower, gathering pollen. Suddenly, Mona's tummy gave a little rumble. Without even thinking, she turned toward the egg she had just hatched from and began nibbling at the shell. The crunchy, golden casing was full of nutrients, and though it gave her strength, it wasn't quite enough to satisfy her growing hunger. When she finished, Mona turned her attention to the milkweed leaf beneath her. Its surface was smooth, marked with winding lime green veins. She took a bite, and creamy white sap oozed out, forming tiny glistening drops that trickled down the edge of the leaf. Mona continued to eat, crawling in a neat little circle, careful not to step in the sticky beads of sap that gathered beneath her. The milkweed leaf tasted absolutely delicious, fresh, sweet, and full of life. Mona found herself fascinated by the leaves she ate. From afar, each one seemed identical. But when she looked closely, every leaf had its own unique pattern and texture. This discovery made every bite a new adventure. And that was good, because Mona was very hungry. She munched her way from leaf to leaf, spiraling her journey upward along the tall milkweed plant. Tiny, perfectly round holes dotted the leaves behind her, marking her path of exploration and appetite. After several days of non-stop feasting, Mona finally began to feel satisfied. Her pace slowed, and she noticed an odd sensation, not in her stomach this time, but all across her body. It was a gentle pressure, almost like the feeling she'd experienced when she first broke free from her egg. Then, suddenly, a small bulge formed near her head, and she felt her outer skin loosen. She twisted and wriggled with determination until she slipped out of her old skin completely. When she emerged, she felt brand new. Her body was now covered in a soft peach fuzz, and she had tiny, flexible tentacles that helped her crawl more easily and quickly. Mona admired her new appearance. She was no longer the delicate, see-through green she once was. Instead, her body now shimmered with slender stripes of white, yellow, and black that ran the length of her frame. But with this new look came an even greater hunger. Mona spent nearly the entire night eating, nibbling constantly. Occasionally, she would pause to rest, curling up on a cool leaf and drifting into sleep, eyes still open, dreaming peacefully. Her little world on the milkweed plant felt safe and cozy. Her only worry was finding enough to eat, a task she excelled at. Days turned into weeks, and Mona continued to grow, shedding her skin again and again as she outgrew each new layer. With every molt, she became stronger, rounder, and more vibrant. Before long, Mona had transformed into a fully grown caterpillar, stretching nearly 2.5 centimeters in length. By now, spring had given way to summer. The meadow around her was alive with color-golden blossoms, fluttering petals, and warm sunshine bathing everything in a dreamy glow. Mona continued her endless munching, now instinctively preparing for the great transformation that awaited her. The magical change from caterpillar to butterfly. The meadow around her had become a paradise of milkweed, each kind offering its own flavor and charm. She nibbled her way through them all: the golden yellow oak milkweed, the deep purple variety, the radiant orange butterfly milkweed, and money moray. Every type had its own beauty. Their buds began as small, round beads that looked almost like berries, then slowly unfurled into clusters of delicate, vibrant petals. One calm, sunlit morning, Mona rested atop her favorite purple milkweed plant, the one she had called home for so long. The leaves beneath her rustled softly in the breeze, though she was far too light to make them stir herself. From her perch, she admired the breathtaking rainbow of flowers and plants that painted the meadow. 4 days, she had enjoyed wandering lazily among them, sampling the freshest leaves and delighting in the sweetness of nature's buffet. But now, a new instinct urged her on. It was time to find a quiet, safe place to begin her next great journey. Forming her she inched from plant to plant, taking nearly an entire day to search for the perfect spot. Though milkweed had been her world until now, she felt drawn to something different, something special. Mona passed by a lovely lavender plant, its soft purple blossoms swaying gently in the wind, but it didn't feel quite right. She inspected some tall yellow flowers, too exposed. The cornflowers were bright, the hibiscus lush, yet none of them gave her that sense of belonging she was looking for. Then she saw it, a striking plant dotted with bright red spots that caught her attention immediately. It looked strong and healthy, growing beneath the shade in a peaceful corner of the meadow. The plant arched gracefully, tall enough to bend and form a perfect canopy. This is it, Mona thought. This is home. She crawled beneath the arch, feeling as though she were entering a secret, magical garden. As she got closer, she realized that the red patches she had seen were actually plump, ripe tomatoes hanging from the vines. The plant's twisting branches reached in every direction, forming a natural maze. Mona climbed upward carefully until she found a thick, sturdy vine that stretched horizontally, parallel to the ground. The perfect foundation for her transformation. A gentle gust of wind passed through the tomato leaves, making them whisper softly around her. Mona lifted her gaze to the sky and saw the sun hanging high. It was nearly noon. The moment had come. With calm determination, she prepared to begin the next wondrous stage of her life, her metamorphosis. Mona inched her way to the underside of the sturdy branch and began the delicate task of spinning a small silk pad. She worked slowly and carefully, weaving the fine threads together until the pad formed a tiny, round cushion that gleamed white like a polished pearl button. Once it was ready, She attached the tip of her body securely to the silken pad. For a long while, she hung there, gently swaying in the breeze, her body curved into the shape of a soft, fuzzy hook. Hours passed in peaceful stillness before Mona finally straightened herself out. Then, with practiced effort, she began to shed her skin one more time. But this time, something magical occurred. As the outer layer slipped away, it revealed a smooth, pale green casing beneath it. It was small and shaped like an acorn. Delicate yet strong, this little chamber would be her home for the next several weeks. Inside, it felt snug and safe, a perfect cocoon for rest and renewal. Mona wriggled slightly, adjusting herself until she found the most comfortable position, then grew still. Around her, the surface of the chrysalis began to harden, forming a protective shield against curious predators and the restless world outside, exhausted from days of eating, crawling, and growing. Mona released a tiny sigh through her spiracles. The small breathing tubes that connected her inner world to the fresh air beyond. She wondered what she must look like now. Perhaps, to any creature passing by, she appeared to be simply napping, unaware that deep inside this shell, she was changing, becoming something entirely new. As twilight fell, Mona yawned softly. The crickets began their evening chorus, their rhythmic chirping echoing across the meadow as the last light of day faded away. Soon, no more sunlight reached her resting place. That night, she drifted into the deepest sleep she had ever known, dreaming vividly of wings, beautiful, delicate wings, and the bright skies she would one day soar through. Days slipped by quietly. Bees hummed over blossoms, their gentle buzzing blending with the distant babble of a nearby stream. Nights passed calmly, moonlight glinting off rippling water. Once, a deer wandered close to nibble on the ripe tomatoes near her branch, but Ivandi left her undisturbed. It was, by far, the most peaceful sleep Mona had ever had, until 10 days later, something stirred within her. Slowly, Mona began to wake. At first, she felt groggy, heavy from her long rest, but the drowsiness soon faded. She shifted slightly and was startled to realize how different she felt, and yet strangely familiar, as though the caterpillar she once was still lingered inside her. With steady determination, she pressed and wriggled until the outer shell of her chrysalis began to crack. A thin split widened, and with one final push, she climbed free. Mona clung tightly to the underside of the branch, her tiny legs gripping firmly, as she took her first breath of open air in what felt like forever. Mona remained hanging upside down for several hours, adjusting slowly to the unfamiliar sensations of her brand new body. Everything felt different now, lighter, freer, and somehow more graceful than before. It took her a little time to understand how to move, how to balance, and how to exist in this new form. When she looked out across the meadow, she was astonished by what she saw. Her vision, once hazy and limited, was now crystal clear. The green leaves of the tomato plant were no longer a blur of color. Each one stood out in perfect detail, sharp and vivid. The blossoms that once appeared flat and two-dimensional now seemed to burst with depth and texture, as though the whole world had come to life before her eyes. Not far away, Mona noticed another butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. Its wings gleamed a brilliant orange, traced with fine black veins that shimmered in the sunlight. Its slender body was topped with 2 delicate antennae and a long, curled proboscis. A tiny, tube-like mouth extended gracefully from its face. Something about this butterfly felt strangely familiar. Mona couldn't help but wonder if she looked the same. If her own wings carried the same radiant beauty as she hung there. She could feel a soft pulsing inside her wings. Warm fluid moving through them, strengthening and expanding them bit by bit. Gradually, they began to stiffen, the morning air drying them completely until they were ready. Mona gave her wings a few gentle flaps, testing them carefully. The motion felt odd but thrilling, as though her entire being was meant for this. Still, a small uncertainty lingered. Could she really fly? There was only one way to find out. With autumn drawing near, she would soon need to migrate thousands of miles, a journey that would demand courage, strength, and flight. Taking a steadying breath, Mona released her grip on the tomato branch. For a heartbeat, she felt weightless. Then her wings caught the wind. They fluttered instinctively, graceful and sure, keeping her aloft. A rush of joy filled her as she realized she was flying. The air brushed against her delicate wings, lifting her higher with each beat. For a little creature who had once spent her days crawling across milkweed leaves, this feeling, this freedom, was beyond her wildest dreams. She soared over the meadow, rising and dipping with the rhythm of the breeze. The landscape below looked like an enchanted painting. Clusters of cornflowers, lilacs, and tall hemp plants swaying beneath her, their colors blending into a tapestry of purples, blues, and greens. Drawn by the vivid hues, Mona glided down and landed softly on a pink zinnia blossom. The petals felt smooth beneath her feet. Instinctively, she unfurled her new, slender tongue and dipped it deep into the flower's center. A sweet, golden nectar met her taste, warm, syrupy, and utterly delightful. It was nothing like the tough, milky leaves she once chewed. This was pure sweetness, the taste of a new life. Mona spent the following weeks delighting in her newfound favorite treat, the sweet nectar that filled every bloom in the meadow. She fluttered from flower to flower, sipping happily, feeling content and full of energy. There was no need for her to leave this beautiful place. Everything she could ever want was right here. The meadow was alive with color, alive with life, and home to hundreds of butterflies just like her. Together, they danced gracefully through the warm air, their wings glinting like jewels under the golden sunlight. When she wasn't too busy feasting or helping to pollinate the many blossoms, Mona discovered another joy: mud paddling. Near the heart of the meadow, she found a small, shallow puddle of muddy water. Though it looked murky, it was rich with minerals and nutrients her body needed. Perching at its edge, Mona spread her wings wide to soak in the sunlight as she drank. The cool water refreshed her, and she stayed there for hours, savoring the stillness. Summer drifted by softly, each day blending into the next like a dream. Surrounded by endless food and gentle company, Mona grew strong, storing up the energy she would need for what every butterfly in the meadow was waiting for: the great migration. The other monarchs often spoke of it, their wings fluttering with excitement as they imagined the long, daring journey ahead. It would be the adventure of a lifetime, And soon, Mona would be part of it too. As the season began to shift and the days grew shorter, a crisp coolness filled the air. The once vibrant greens of the meadow deepened into shades of amber and gold. Mona felt a stirring inside her, an instinct she couldn't ignore. It was time to go. The other monarchs felt it too. They didn't need words to understand. Together, they knew what came next. Mona took one last gentle sip of nectar, savoring its sweetness, then lifted herself into the air. Her orange and black wings shimmered in the sunlight, catching the breeze with a rhythmic flutter. She looked down for a final glimpse of her beloved meadow, the tall whispering grasses, the old apple trees heavy with fruit, and the milkweed plant where her journey had begun. A wave of fondness washed over her. She would never forget this place, her first home. Yet something inside her longed to see what lay beyond. Higher and higher, she climbed the familiar landscape below, shrinking until it melted into a blur of rich, swirling colors, just as it had looked long ago when she was still a tiny caterpillar gazing up at the world for the first time. To her surprise, the first part of the journey was easier than she had imagined. Mona caught a steady current of air that lifted and carried her gently forward. The wind seemed almost alive, both cradling her and pushing her onward, guiding her toward the unknown. As she drifted southward from Ohio toward Kentucky, Mona's eyes filled with wonder at all she saw below. A bird with feathers, the color of the sky, towering mountains far in the distance, and winding rivers that glistened like ribbons of silver beneath the sun. For the first time, Mona truly understood what it meant to fly free, to be part of something vast and beautiful, stretching far beyond the meadow she once called home. Mona marveled at the strange new sights below her as she glided on the warm breeze. She saw glittering metal boxers speeding along long stretches of gray ground, each one carrying moving creatures inside. The meadows she passed were enormous, 10 times larger than the one where she had hatched and grown up. The world suddenly seemed vast, full of wonder and mystery. Along her journey, Mona encountered other monarch butterflies traveling the same route. During the day, they often flew apart, scattered across the sky. But when night came, they gathered together to rest. They roosted in bushes and trees along their path, forming little fluttering communities beneath a fading light. After several days of travel, Mona finally reached Kentucky. As the sun began to set, she spotted a small meadow bursting with milkweed beside a gently flowing river and decided to stop there for the night. The soft murmur of the water moving over stones filled the cool evening air. One by one, other monarchs arrived, landing gracefully on nearby branches and tall plants. Mona sipped nectar from a nearby blossom, letting its sweetness refresh her after the long flight, then joined the others high up in a tree. From a distance, their roost looked like a cluster of fiery autumn leaves, orange, gold, and black, fluttering together. There were hundreds of them, all sharing the same colors and patterns, yet each with its own unique design. Mona's wings, for instance, had a few extra white spots that shimmered when the moonlight touched them. Every night brought new friendships. As the monarchs rested, they shared stories about the places they had come from, some from the banks of wide rivers, others from the edges of rolling pastures. Mona loved telling them about her home meadow, filled with apple trees, lilacs, and milkweed plants. As the sun dipped below the horizon, The last streaks of light disappeared, and darkness settled over the pasture. Mona nestled deeper into the roost, feeling the gentle brush of another butterfly's wings against her own. The touch made her smile. It felt comforting to be part of something so much bigger than herself. With the night humming softly around her, she drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep. When morning came, Mona rose early, ready to continue her journey. Each new dawn filled her with renewed energy and determination. Within a week, she had already crossed into Arkansas, soaring above winding rivers and between distant mountain peaks. By now, she had mastered the art of riding the wind. The air currents carried her effortlessly, lifting and guiding her forward like an invisible wave beneath her wings. That evening, she stopped to rest in a vast state park where hundreds, then thousands of monarchs joined her. Their numbers grew so large that the trees shimmered with orange and black as they settled in for the night. The only sound that filled the air was the rhythmic song of cicadas, blending with the occasional rustle of leaves. The park was dark, lit only by the faint glow of fireflies drifting lazily in the air, tiny flickers of light that looked like stars come down to dance among them. Every day of her journey revealed something new and beautiful. When the next morning arrived, Mona awoke to the golden rays of sunrise streaming across the park. The world buzzed with life. Hooded warblers, cuckoos, and ovenbirds filled the air with their cheerful songs, creating a melody that blended with the rustling of the trees. Mona paused to listen, letting the music of the morning wash over her before fluttering to a patch of wildflowers nearby. She sipped the nectar slowly, filling her body with energy for the long day of flight that lay ahead. Thanks to all the energy she had stored back in her meadow, Mona still felt light, strong, and full of life. Her wings carried her onward with ease as she continued her great adventure. Before long, she reached the warm lands of Texas, where summer still lingered and the air shimmered under the golden sun. Here, the skies were alive with butterflies of every color and shape. Mona was fascinated by their beauty. One had wings of deep blue and violet that glowed like moonlight, while another fluttered past her with soft, pastel yellow wings spread wide like sunshine. She admired them quietly as she paused to sip nectar from a field of blooming flowers, their sweetness giving her strength for the miles ahead. As she left the United States behind and glided into Mexico, Mona began to feel a familiar drowsiness creeping over her. Her wings still carried her smoothly, but her body longed for rest. The instinct to hibernate tugged at her heart. It was nearly time to sleep. Now confident in her flying, Mona soared over the red, dusty deserts of Mexico. Tall saguaro cacti rose from the ground like silent guardians of the sand. At night, under a velvet sky filled with stars, she perched on their white blossoms, sipping nectar that glowed faintly in the moonlight. Sometimes the desert winds would whip up clouds of dust, revealing the invisible trails of air she rode upon. Mona watched in wonder as those swirling currents lifted her higher and higher, carrying her gracefully toward the mountains in the distance. When she finally crossed the rocky peaks, a breathtaking sight unfolded before her eyes. A vast forest blanketed with millions of orange and black wings. Monarchs, just like her, covered the Oyamel fir trees in great shimmering clusters. The trees, tall and cone-shaped, with soft needles instead of leaves, stood together in close ranks, sheltering the butterflies from the chill wind. Mona circled above them for a moment, her heart swelling with awe. The monarchs below looked motionless, their delicate wings closed tightly, each one resting after the same long journey she had made. It was as though the entire forest had frozen in time. Her timing could not have been better. With a slow, contented flutter, she descended toward the firs. A gentle sleepiness washed over her, the kind that comes after a long, fulfilling adventure. She landed beside another butterfly, their wings brushing softly as they settled together in the quiet. Mona wondered how they all knew to come here, to this very place where none of them had been before. Somehow, generation after generation, monarchs returned to the same sacred trees, as if guided by invisible memory. Perhaps their ancestors had left a faint, sweet scent upon the bark. Or perhaps the knowledge of these mountains lived deep within their very wings. Mona liked to think they simply followed the most beautiful path the world could offer. And what a beautiful path it had been. Every flower, every breeze, every sunrise had guided her here. Now, at last, Mona allowed her wings to rest. She closed her eyes and surrendered to her exhaustion, letting the peace of the forest cradle her. Here, she would sleep through the winter. When spring returned, she would awaken and lay her eggs, beginning the great cycle. Anew eggs that would become larvae, then caterpillars, and finally butterflies just like her, ready to continue the journey their ancestors began. Though the fir trees around her would stay green all year, Mona knew that far away, her home meadow would be changing, the apple trees shedding their leaves, the milkweed blanketed in frost. A soft pang of longing touched her heart, but it was soon replaced by gratitude. She had found another home here, among her kind, safe and still beneath the mountain sky. As Mona drifted into deep hibernation, memories of her sunlit meadow floated gently through her dreams. The scent of flowers, the hum of bees, and the golden warmth of summer that had carried her so far